or two, you're on your way.
Yeah, the other thing that I've noticed a pattern on X, and I'm wondering like, what is it about your profile that like you end up with certain like people that message you, but I keep getting so many messages on X from people that are Elon impersonators.
Sweet.
I'm curious, does anyone
Okay,
else
wait a
like
second. Are you sure it's not Elon?
Pretty sure that this is probably somebody based in Africa that is pretending to be Elon.
Elon was based in Africa too, so let's not forget.
Oh, yeah, you're right. South Africa.
If it's not Elon, Victoria, it's Keanu.
Yeah, no, the Keanu, like, I think everybody got that. But yeah, for X, I like basically consistently on a weekly basis will get a message from somebody pretending it's like Elon 000 dot whatever.
I, I'm a bit ashamed I didn't already get off after this sex exploitation, young photos and stuff. I definitely only opened it a couple times. I I'm still pissed off that journalists want to use it. They need to get it a
And
new
governments.
platform.
And
Well,
governments.
all of it, right? This is
Well, yeah, like I think our current president in the United States, I know there are some Canadians on the stage, but I think he thinks that like tweeting is the same thing as not an order.
he treats it that way, just like Elon Musk treats tweeting as business proposals. So it, for them, it's so. Remember, Trump does his stuff on Truth, so then he can get the and that platform to be.
So you have the Australian government calling this out. You have the UK government calling this out on grok, etc. And yet they're still using X as a platform. So
Yeah,
Eh,
but like they need to get off of it, right? Like
that's
that's
right.
so okay. One thing I will mention is that on Friday we're continuing with our reading room, and the next few articles are on Grokopedia. They are articles that were published in German that we have translated into English for ease right now. And we will read those through. But like this is about like how trust, like our whole concept around the room is around trust, but it's related to the book that came out earlier this year, Seven Rules of Trust, by the co-founder, who gets really mad if you call him the co-founder, by the way, of Wikipedia. And so we've been reading it together, but like the Grokopedia is like what we're on to now. We just went over like Wikability, which took us a long time to go through because Wikability in itself is a concept that's like talking about canonizing like um text, and we had to break down what that actually means too. So it was a little bit longer. I don't know how the Grokopedia one's going to go, but we have I think 3 or 4 articles on it, from a non American kind of point of view, and where like there's at least a little bit more criticality to the discussion than maybe what we've been used to.
So, just to add a little bit more news coverage, Indonesia and Malaysia have both banned the app entirely. I know that the UK is a lot of talk at the moment, but they are looking at different ways of addressing policy and law. And supposedly, Elon backed down on something with respect to what they're looking at. I don't remember the ins and outs because that was only like a few hours ago. And I know Canada is looking into it. A bunch of other countries are doing deep investigations on it. But of course, nothing's happening in the United States. Um, I will use this as a sort of like thought experiment. When you've got somebody who will not use their conscience or their morality prioritizes quote unquote free speech and sees this as censorship, like how, and he has a gazillion dollars, right? So he's got unlimited power and resources. How do you address something like that? And because of the way that I've been thinking about systems and so on, he has limited tethers to press on, but the ground beneath his feet, i.e., the infrastructure, the undergirding for X, grok, etc., those all have pressure points, whether it's terms of service violations, and he may not do those, but they have undergirding as well. Whether you're talking cloud computing, payment services, right? It's not about the money for him, but it's the flow of the money that's important. It's about the different companies and their reputations or their terms of service, or like, right? And if those are addressed, then it can shake the foundation, and then he has to make movement if he wants to maintain having X and Grok platformed, because other countries are doing things, but if nothing's happening in the United States from a legal perspective, and all he's getting is quote unquote scolding from some Democrats, but nothing more, and he's now violating his own terms of service, right? Then there have to be other mechanisms in order to address.
And just in case anyone didn't know, this is because Elon was saying that he has the freedom of speech when it comes to child pornography. That was what it's really based in. So that is where people have finally drawn a line. When it came to the misinformation, we didn't care. But when it comes to child pornography, a lot of people are actually surprisingly not comfortable with him calling that just freedom of speech.
That's what infuriates me is like when I hear men who didn't, sorry guys, that don't care about uh, women in general, about whatever the harm is being done, but when it hits children, well, then there's this, well, why isn't there about women or misinformation or whatever?
Sorry, I'm going to question what you just said, Taro. I don't think that there's any evidence to suggest that he has
Oh,
um,
you can just look at what
defended
Keir
that.
Starmer
I
said.
don't like
Oh,
Elon, but I also don't
you
like
don't like Keir Starmer
misinformation.
either? You don't like the UK government? You don't like what other governments do you not like?
Sorry, what? You're
If you're not up to date with something, Victoria, that's fine, right?
sorry,
If
what?
you are not up to
I
date with
understand
something,
that Grok has been
Can we
accused,
can
which
we
is the AI agent.
sort
So
out
I
the
just,
claim? What's
yeah, can
what's
you please provide information on that? Because
or
I don't
just I
think that there's
clarify
any
just
evidence
I
that
can we do
Elon
like a
has defended
reset
this.
of what's going on? I mean, defended. What is this? When you say defended this, you mean
So there's
the
been
Grok
evidence
doing
that
this crazy shit?
there's been evidence of Grok basically distributing um, pornography online. Some of that has included underage girls, but I have not seen any evidence of Elon actually defending this or suggesting that this is part of freedom of speech for like distribution of child pornography. I think that is wild, and it goes into a completely different category. Like I just want to engage thoughtfully on that. I don't I have not seen any
Okay.
evidence. If
So
you have
you're
evidence of
looking.
that,
Okay. I just wanted to reset of what the claim is. So you think that, and you'd like evidence if that's what she was asserting, or if these are connections she was making.
yeah, potentially. I just haven't seen any evidence of him defending child pornography as freedom of speech. I think that's a completely different argument than what has been alleged, which is grok distribution of pornography, and that is the AI that is associated with Twitter, of course, or X, whatever.
So I just want to like reorient this and say it is not Grok doing this, it is men doing this, and Grok allows for men to remove the clothes of women, children. It doesn't matter the gender or the age because even toddlers have been done. And like there are numerous articles from countries around the world that have him defending this, even though it is CSAM, even though it is pornographic. And it's not just nudes, it's also it's in uh, it's going to be a bit graphic here, but supposedly cigarette burns and humiliating situations, and like this is, and he is defending it, and he then will weaponize it and say, well, that anyone who wants to cause the change to happen is a fascist, um, right? And that this is he even monetized it on Friday. He changed it so that, but it wasn't entirely. He said, if you still want to create them, then you need to have a paid account, but it was still available for everyone. But he basically sold it, the narrative, to anybody. If they want to continue doing this, they need to have a paid account, which means that anybody who wants to continue doing it or now learns that you can do this with Grok and X is going to create a paid account. So he's just making more money off the backs of women and children and babies. And he did defend it. Like there's a ridiculous number of articles talking about it. And this isn't just like,
Yeah, like the fact that like we're even in this position, Christina, is wild to me. That you can go ahead and
Wait a
like
second. Wait a second. Wait a second.
run
Moderator privilege. Give
CBC.
me a second. I wanted
Yeah.
to clarify the claim and find out what the specific arguments he made, and if it's covered, it's covered. But I just wanted to step in and prevent it from becoming a fight and diverging. We've had a pretty good room up till now. So let's put the daggers back away and
just
clarify.
have to
I'm aware of this story, not the details, and I certainly don't know the quotes from Elon. And I imagine he probably wants to make money on it. All of it's plausible. So let's I want to retreat and just, if it was just to clarify the claim. And then Victoria, do you have any other questions about because the assertions made seem not just
Yeah,
plausible, but but what did you want? A specific, like, direct quote from
no,
Elon
I
without
don't.
any drugs
I
in his
think that
system,
there's
that he's
I think that
he
there is
loves
a
his kids or
logical
something?
leap here about him basically saying, "Oh, this is all freedom of speech," in defending Grok, but um, I believe that. What I don't think that he did is defend child pornography, which is a completely, to me, a logical leap.
Well, it's the
And
work product that is at the center of the story, right?
I think that's an assertion. I don't think that you can find a direct quote related
The
to
work
that. That's
product.
the
No, I
point.
mean it's what Grok, by prompt. It was, and it sounds like it's been moved to a paid thing. I'm not
That's
going to go
because
test it.
there are, let's just
I'm
agree,
just, let's
there are
call them
terrible and
incels. That
horrible people
Sure, but that's not
everywhere.
just because
But I don't think,
there's other LLMs that won't allow this behavior. So you have, where we were just talking about the fucking financial crisis and banks and accountability. So you don't think Elon should be accountable for the work product that is allowing for pictures of babies to be, hey, take the kids' clothes off this one, and create it as if it's some weird occult practice torture with kids? And then we
I,
can make a Pizzagate allegation. Hang on, I'm not. Heck, it's just the platform. If it allows it, you don't think Elon is responsible? I mean, the whole thing about it being Mecha Hitler,
oh,
it was able to be
I think
changed.
there is accountability, but I thought that the claim went a little bit further to indicate that he was actually defending child pornography distribution, which I
He
don't
was,
think
Victoria. You're insane if you do not understand this.
I did not read a single
I've seen
article
multiple
that
articles on
indicates.
the same thing. I've
Can
seen
you
multiple
use
articles on the same thing.
a different word than insane, please?
Um mentally regressing in a way where you are not able to understand that this is not something that is made up, but this is a reality in the world today.
Mentally regressing. All right, Taro, please.
How else do you want me to say it, Dirk? Do you have better ways of saying these
Yes,
things?
yes, I think there are
Okay,
better ways.
teach me.
Other people
Teach me
can
the
have.
better ways.
I
Teach
don't
me the
know.
better
Not
ways.
me. It's not
Teach
me.
me.
It's not me.
Wait. Teach me the
Some
better ways. Teach me the better ways of dealing with people who are not willing to address the fact that governments are addressing the child pornography issue that is happening by by a company, and a man who owns the company is responding to those issues and saying that this is freedom of speech, but now I need to make it make sense in a special kind of way, and I would like you to explain how I should do that for and what that special kind of way is. And I would also like you to explain, because this is a whole school you can have right now. Tell us how we should deal with this issue.
But I think what I
Wait,
the basically
Dark Victoria is going to explain to us how we can explain to you what is happening in the world.
this is no, Taro. No, I'm sorry. I
the rest
appreciate
of the
that
people in this room
that
love
you
and
have
respect
a
the rest of us and don't use words like you're insane or what mentally regress whatever you else you said. I just want nice words with the people in here who don't speak to one another like that. That's all I'm asking.
the other thing is that this is currently
What were
being
the ni-
investigated. There's been calls for
David? What were the
investigation.
nice words that were David? What were
Wait,
the nice words?
what, guys,
Moderator, can you explain
guys.
what were the nice words that were used when I brought up the fact that this was happening, and the dismissal that was received when I actually brought up the actual topic that
It's on
other
replays.
governments are talking
Taro,
about?
I'm actually dividing my attention, and I'm about to go get my children. I don't want to get into a dispute resolution at the moment. So can we just slow down
Uh, uh,
and stop thinking we're under attack?
yeah, the thing that I was just mentioning is sorry. There's a
Everybody. There was a claim. I thought it was needed to be a direct accusation. It sounds like that's not necessarily what's going on here.
it,
And
it
then people are not liking the tone that's being taken. Don't tone police each other. Just accept that you guys are going to have different words.
yeah, and I think from sorry, there's an echo, but from my perspective, I just haven't seen anything where he has directly defended the distribution of child pornography, which I think would be a step way too far. So the
Do you
man
think defending his
has
platform that creates child porn is direct enough?
no.
It's not direct enough.
I think that there is an investigation that's been called for by multiple governments, including within California and other other countries. And
Under a CSAM claim or what?
I think that's important because it is still it's a privately held organization. It's a platform that has had previously been public and was part of the public square. So I do believe that this is important, but I just also don't want to stain a person based solely on an accusation before they've actually been able to provide a defense. And also, the large language models have been put out, unleashed into the wild, and there's been a lot of problems with many of them.
But
And I
not
don't think
equally. They're not.
Grok
It's
is
not the
not the
only one.
only
It's
Grok is not the
currently the
only
only one
one.
that's allowing this current problem. Am I? It, am I the only one that's here? What?
So his
When do you have to wait till the floodwaters are at your door to
I
say there's a
think
problem
I
here?
think the like a larger problem is that these models are getting trained on content. Sorry, there's an echo when you have your mic open. Um, that there is a larger problem with the data that is being sourced for these language learning models and or large language models, and they like I think Grok is the worst of the worst actually, because it's being trained based on information on social media, and there's a lot of BS that it's not the only one. It's not the only culprit. And I think it's, from my perspective, just a leap to go so far as to say the way that people are manipulating these models and using it on the consumer basis means that the person that is in charge of the company that hired the engineers that created the platform is that he would be defending something that is really like just morally reprehensible. So I think mm, it's just good to like think about things like in a practical, pragmatic perspective, not leaping to conclusions.
Is the talk about child pornography?
Phoenix, now let's either move on or
Ew.
hear
Let's
something
move
else.
on.
Uh,
Excuse me.
I just wanted to say that scanning all these articles that I've been doing and posting some, Musk goes out of his way to say things like, this is our number one priority, but there's more and more proof that it's going on. And as people keep saying, his is the only platform that's doing that. So I don't think he's uttered the words in any direct way that he supports child pornography or these other nefarious activities, but clearly he is directly enabling them, and it seems to be getting a lot worse.
Jordan, did you see his X tweet to the UK Prime Minister that the UK Prime Minister responded to? Did you see that one?
No, what did it say?
It said, "You can't stop us from free speech."
Look, can I just want to jump in for a sec. I, I, Victoria, I think
Ew.
is maybe you've dug yourself into a hole. I think Victoria's original point was that he didn't actually make the statement that this sort of material should be protected under some freedom of speech concept. It is absolutely correct. What he has done is claim that any attempt to regulate them is a suppression of expression, right? He's stopped just a little short of saying that particular content should be protected under freedom of expression. Instead, what he has said is any effort to regulate us is out of a goal of suppressing our expression. And I think what everyone is pointing out is that they believe he is morally culpable for this stuff, as I do, but I do think it's just slightly wrong to say that he has said the creation and distribution of this particular material should be protected. Instead, he said any attempt to regulate us is attempting to suppress our expression.
Thank you,
But
Steve. You
obviously, he's
said
Yeah,
morally
exactly what
culpable for all of
Steve.
David,
it.
David, Christina is
Was Keir
in
Well,
the
Starmer,
hand.
Phoenix,
Yeah,
Phoenix,
yeah.
I'm
Sorry,
sorry, you're
Christina,
speaking to space,
Christina's trying to get up
and
here.
I'm totally down to let you. I'm totally down to let you get in
I just wanted to say, I think Steve said much better, exactly what
a
I was
bit.
trying to
Just want to make
say.
sure
not
that Steve
exactly.
can like
So thanks,
respond
Steve.
back
Please go ahead.
to the Prime Minister of the UK, United Kingdom, and he is saying that this suppression of like, what was there another was there another thing that Keir Starmer was bringing up in terms of like
I
You
mean,
cut out there.
the
the
thing that he had brought up? What was the point that he had brought up that he said
Just post the tweet, Tara.
the
You're cutting
application
out.
is investigated for multiple reasons, right? Because there's a lot of misinformation. There are literally like intelligence services utilizing it, like from Russia, that are spreading false information. There are so many things that Twitter, or sorry, X, could be investigated for from a regulatory perspective. And I completely believe that that would be in line because it creates problems. Like, I don't think January 6th probably would have happened had it not been for some of the social media applications that exist. So I do believe that there is like reason for government to um, pose scrutiny on these platforms, but I just was
Uh, uh,
basically directly discussing the claim that this person is
we heard,
supportive
we
of.
heard, we heard, we
Yeah.
heard. Can we move on? That
Also, David,
if,
the
for
word on the
brevity.
street is that Christina is trying to raise her hand to get up on the stage. Do you have it? Do you have the ability to let her up on the stage?
I like the way you said it, Caleb. That was,
Thank you.
yeah. Can we
Sorry.
guys not entertain these ideas? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say we're entertaining them so much as we are responding to them in real time because, like, this is happening. Like, this is happening right now, and we as human beings on this fantastic planet Earth right now are faced with the ever unfolding industry, I guess, of AI. And if we don't, in my opinion, if we don't take the bull by the horns, for lack of a better term, and hard code ethics into these things, then this is, I hate to say it, the tip of the iceberg, man. And like that is untenable as far as I'm concerned. So whatever we can do to make this work for us, that's the way to go.
And we are
Yeah,
consumers of
but we
this
should.
stuff. We are
Yeah, we
consumers of
should.
this stuff. And as consumers, then you should take that into consideration when you go onto these platforms, just what they actually represent.
It's just really sad that the public should discuss these issues while it should be from the leadership that these things should be not allowed. But sometimes, like they say, don't make foolish people famous. Like the more we engage with them, the more famous they become. Sometimes, like we should be careful sometimes.
Oh,
So
I'm
there's
totally with you. Yeah, there's no reason to give voice to people, gunning folks down and stuff like that. At this point, though, however, Elon Musk is a known quantity, to say the least. And for what it's worth, my limited research has suggest. I'll give you one sentence summary. In summary, Musk has not defended child pornography itself, but has been criticized for insufficiently controlling its distribution on his platforms, which has led to legal investigations and public pressure to improve safeguards. So there we have it.
There's a book out that came out in September called The New Age of Sexism by Laura Bates. I put the title in the chat. She wrote this book and did intense research on a number of areas that have been kept, quote unquote, dark, so to speak, but still completely accessible to everybody. The filth and disgusting things that are happening, not by bots, but by men, and is being amplified because there were studies done in Australia and Scotland going back 3, 4 years ago, maybe now, that found that algorithms on every social platform were amplifying sexist and misogynistic content to every new account made for a man, like if you just said, if you selected male when you created it, or already established accounts. And it ramped up even more prior to the 2024 election. And it's only gotten worse, which has had a rippling out effect. The book, The New Age of Sexism, starts to talk about how the idea of being able to take any photograph and to make a photo that's pornographic out of it or a video out of it or even interactions in the metaverse have been getting exponentially worse, and they've monetized it. You can earn tokens, so even if you don't pay for the services that allow you to do it, you can earn tokens by using it for free once. Then you sell that on these various markets, then you can earn more tokens to get more access to these things. But now Grok's brought it out into the light, and because it gives him more engagement, I also highly recommend the book Careless People, a cautionary tale of greed. I can't remember the other word, and lost idealism, talking about Meta and how their greed has then wiped out any responsibility around ethics or morality. And they've literally put dictators into power. They've left things up so that lives were literally lost in various countries. They've created software for facial recognition, for dictate. Like they have done so much behind the scenes, these different platforms and technology in order at the exploitation of not only us psychologically, but literal lives being lost. And like, because this is all happening, as long as we continue to say, oh, well, it's just bots being done, completely disregards all of the harm that's literally being done. And now it's brought out into the open and we're going to question it. And because it's uncomfortable and it makes us feel yucky, then we can't look at it and say no. Like, how many people were a part of that Telegram group that was found to find ways of drugging women? The man who had women come into and affect his wife in France, right? Did he? How many things do we have to bring up of like example after example after example? Epstein files. Have you heard anyone heard those Sasha Riley audio interviews with a man who was a victim for years and the horrific things? Like, this shit is happening, and as long as we want to like prettify it up or like sanitize it because oh it could be these other things, we are negating, like we're setting ourselves back if we don't start to have forethought and think about like these, the fictional stories and movies that we see always have shreds of truth. They've showed us for all along that there are horrible people out there doing things, but we like to think that that's not really happening, except that it is. And as the longer we stay in that mindset, then the longer it will take for us to actually get on board to be able to see what's happening to make changes. And like, I don't know, I heard someone on mic and I've lost my train of thought, but there's like a lot happening right now that we can't ignore and just say it's just bots because it's not. It's not.
I really miss the way I viewed the world before I knew so much about it. Seriously. Now
Amen.
I don't really like now I don't want to make a family and like have children. Like I really miss the way I used to view the world. Like after that I discovered about the Holocaust, I discovered about the wars that happened. Now I discovered about these people exist amongst us and they are free, like they are not held accountable. I think castration should be considered by the people in power.
Yeah, sure. That is that's a position. Okay, so Christina, I wanted to respond to you directly. Phoenix, I'll also respond to you personally. Personally, I don't think castration is the way to go, in my humble opinion. However, I am into regulating this type of thing, so that way this sort of stuff doesn't happen. Obviously, I am pro, humans being harmonious and enjoying our time on this planet. Because let's be real, guys, we don't have a whole lot of it. This is a finite experience. So, with that said, Christina, you mentioned something that I really wanted to. Um, I guess maybe touch on, highlight, and that is that it's, from my perspective, it's extremely easy for me to look at all this and then like my central nervous system just goes AWOL, and before I know it, I'm I have now removed my ability to be helpful in the situation simply because I have reached a place of like I'm so activated that I must stand up and like do jumping jacks or something because like and where I'm coming from, the reason I'm saying all this is to say that the people that have the ability to change any of this, they don't seem to really care. Like I don't like the reason all this stuff is happening is because all this AI stuff is being built by fucking tech bros. Like it's a very specific demographic of human being. It's like, children, first of all, like the wide majority of these fucking kids don't have fully developed brains. I mean, like, good God. Second of all, they they're designing these systems so that it will like make the world easier for them to, I'm not going to say that, that's too harsh, to help make the world easier for them to exist in a way that helps them exist. The problem though is that the way that tech bros the world is not remotely the same way that any of the other humans view the world. It's a very specific myopic lens from the perspective of tech bros, and that's the problem. As in my opinion, the good thing is that we're getting all this out to the public. That is a fantastic development. That is a good thing. We need as many people as possible using this in as many different ways as possible, so that way we can naturally filter out and naturally select for the shit that's helpful and gets rid of all the hoopla. And yeah, in the short term, there's gonna be a lot of hoopla because it's like the Industrial Revolution. Like a bunch of shit's gonna get broken before we fix it. But I'm all for designing it. I'm all for making it fixed and making it work, and we'll get there. We'll get there one step at a time, one uncomfortable as shit step at a time.
I think one
Yeah,
of
I
the
hear
I
the,
that,
like
think
the
but
major
can I just
castration,
quickly reply to Caleb, and
castration.
then I'll just want to quickly reply and then I'll stop. But I just want to say a few things. Imagine like how your nervous system feels, but how a woman's might feel. I have received so many vile, disgusting threats and things said to me on this app alone, like, and this is like the day to day since the amplification of the sexist and misogynistic content, right? And so this is very real, and this is why I'm activated by the fact that we want to just gloss over it, but also that like the tech bros, we can say they're the ones who created it, they are the ones that have money, and obviously they don't have the tethers that are holding them accountable in a variety of ways. And if we just say it's going to sort itself out, and yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable, you can say that. I'm sorry. You can say that. I can't say that. It is our flesh and bone, women, children, babies that can't say that, right? And 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 we're not the only group that's infected by all of these things that are happening right now. I'm not trying to negate anybody. I want us to like recognize that like whoever you might be, if you think you don't have power, like, I hate to do this because I really like my obscure corners of the internet, but I did a brief 22-minute episode talking about, and some of this I've already highlighted, talking about how do we bring down the Goliaths. And I mentioned earlier, it's about the pressure points, right? Like, I'm not in the country, I'm dual citizen, I'm currently not living in the United States. But if there isn't a responsibility taken on by each one of us and risking our lives, risking our nervous systems, like putting ourselves out there, and we say, well, they're the ones that have the power, then for fuck's sake, I'm sorry, but like we see the trajectory everything is going, right? Do we want millions of lives on the tally sheet for the United States? I mean, not to say we don't already have them, but I'm just saying, do we, you know what I mean? And as long as we say that power and we can do nothing, then it's going to happen. Not a matter of if, it's going to happen. We have to be uncomfortable. We have to face, as Tara was pointing out earlier, all the ugliness of what the United States has been a part of. My white skin, whether I like it or not, I was born into it, but the impact of that on others, right? And the impact of a man. I get you didn't choose to be in that body. You didn't get to choose a patriarchy and all of these different systems. You didn't get to choose to be like a woman having to see every man as potentially dangerous until we learn otherwise. It doesn't change the fact that all of us have responsibility, particularly right now, because we are cells of the organism, right? And then and so we have to be a part of, like, they're not going to do it. There was a Trump said recently, and he said the only thing that will stop him is his own morality. I will again point to the horrific things within those Sasha Riley interviews, to the Epstein files. We know the man has no empathy, no morality. It's just power. It's just about him. And if that's the only thing that's stopping him, and he doesn't care, and Elon doesn't care, and like it's going to happen. We have to be the ones to stop it. I'm sorry. I appreciate the space. I am sorry if I have activated anyone, but at the
Don't
same time,
apologize. Don't
Oh
apologize.
yeah,
I
you're
think
good. You're good.
Caleb was wish casting at the end. I actually have to go pick up my twins, and Io's not here. Perhaps he didn't have time, but can we? Yeah, I mean, I probably have at tops 30 minutes. Dr. James didn't want me to mod anybody else, so um, ladies,
I
I know
I just wanted
it's
to
uncomfortable.
like
I'm sorry.
highlight,
The men suck.
the ISO standards for the AI management systems were only adopted in December of 2023. And so we're still like in the Wild West when it comes to a lot of these applications. And even with some of the, yeah, like we can blame it on the tech bros. We can say that poor engineering, whatever we want to say, but um, I just wouldn't assume malice where incompetence might apply. And I think that is the case for a lot of the AI with regard to hallucinations. Dark Victoria even put in the chat, like there have been people that literally killed themselves after like little, um, people that that talked to a chat box and decided to take their own lives. So what I wouldn't do is assume malice by the people that created it. I think there's still like there is um uh, still like a lot of grounds for regulation that it should be investigated, and I hope that that didn't get lost. I believe that they should be held accountable, but I don't think that we need to assume malice or hyperbole with regard to like the output of their systems. I don't think, for
There,
example,
there,
Zuckerberg
Noted,
wanted people
noted,
to die.
noted. Dr. Oppenheimer, noted. Can
Yeah, I mean,
in terms of
she's so
brevity,
right. It's so right, though. Like, in the Nuremberg trials, that was one of the main defenses that they didn't. That was not their intention. Their intention was not to just be killing Jews. Their intention was like something different than that, right? This was not a part of their plans. They got stuck with this because this already existed within society. They were not the ones that actually did this. Like, one of the main defenses that one of the people that was at one of the convicted at the Nuremberg trials had brought up was that he's never even touched a Jew in his entire life. Why the fuck should he have to stand trial here and be treated as though he did some of this? He didn't do any of this. That wasn't a part of his intentions. Even Herman Gorman, like, brought up that that was not a part of his like plan. This was not a part of their plan. They didn't even plan for it, you guys.
Ben's new to the
so
stage. Dennis, can we integrate some new ideas, please?
yeah, so basically we can talk about the ethics of using AI and who is accountable for an AI outcome. If it is
New
negative,
Phoenix, new voices. Uh, Ben and Dennis, can you guys talk, or do you want to
Yeah, I
let
can. I have some. I just got here, so I hear the trailing edge. I did have something relevant to add, and then I had a different question if that was welcome, or if we want to move in that direction.
start with relevant and ask away?
All right. So I read just recently. I put the link in the chat. The headline is Google and Character AI negotiate first major settlement in teen chatbot death cases. Apparently, I was only aware of the one in Florida, where the mother had to bring a case against Character AI as her son killed themselves while the family was at home, directly after speaking to a chatbot. So that's something to consider. Now, the issue for me is what will the terms of the settlement be? They tend not to be disclosed if there is a non-disclosure agreement attached to them. That is pretty standard, really. Money for silence. But there are rare cases, and it's going to depend on what part of law you're looking at in terms of the rarity of this outcome. But a judge can technically, it is within their powers to reject the settlement deal and perhaps even disclose, uh, reject and disclose in the interests of social good, the public interest, etc. Do I think a judge in Florida is going to do that? It might depend on the judge. I'm going to say generally, probably not. But the same way that ideally they'll be able to fix it, I don't know if that's possible. But if that is not possible, it may go the way that a lot of the other AI in law cases are going. Specifically, that means there's been over 700 cases in a database that I have access to. That's not even a complete list, but there have been 700 instances of whether it's a person pleading as their own attorney, or an actual barred licensed attorney, or a judge using these tools, and those tools getting it wrong, and no human checking in the loop. Even though there's a human in the loop, we're told that the human in the loop is potentially going to fix the issues. I have 700 exhibits that say that's not always the case. So yeah, I'll end it there.
Yeah, but can AI be held accountable? Like if there is
Let's
an
get the
outcome.
philosophy back to the new entrants. Jane is, I would say, a subject matter expert in the workplace setting for some of these corner cases as they've been examined before AI. So I'd like to hear from her, someone whose voice I value as well. And Ben, I haven't forgotten about you either. So just let's Jane or
Yeah.
Ben. Sorry, you on mic first.
Oh, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I was gonna raise something regarding the ICE detention case. But if you guys want to talk about AI, I could I could do something else.
No, is it new stuff? But let's chew on the ice. You said ice detention case. You're talking on the legal merits of
Yes.
the thing that was only a local injunction because they got the national thing stayed or whatever.
No, okay, so it's not just the Minneapolis case. Basically, it was a Supreme Court case that came down last year, Nome versus Pedro Vasquez. It's basically allowing ICE to detain what they perceived as illegal aliens based on those four factors. And what I thought was, to me, is a bit of a shocking is the four factors. Basically, it's racial profiling. It's not. It's supposedly under the authority of the Immigration and Naturalization Act, but that act is Section 287(b)(2). But that act requires specific facts for reasonable suspicion based on specific articulatable facts. But right now, what ICE, what the Department of Homeland Security is doing is basically using the four factors. Number one, individuals are hanging around places like Home Depot that tends to, tend to have illegal aliens gather. Number two, the ability to speak Spanish or speaking with an accent. Number three or four was appears to be particular racial ethnic group. I'm not. I could read the four factors, but if you look up the Supreme Court decisions, it's very clear what those four factors are. Basically, the district court judge says that's probably not right under the Fourth Amendment if you're only using one or four of those factors without anything extra. However, the Supreme Court, by the majority, basically saying that's enough. Those four factors would be sufficient to allow them to do this, if you will. So I think the videos that we're seeing with from not just Minneapolis but all over the country, Los Angeles, other places where ICE agents just smashing windows, grabbing people up, literally, I think it's a reflection of the power, authority that the Supreme Court basically indirectly allowed, if not directly allowed, that they can use this approach to approach anyone. And I think the important part that I wanted to share with this room is that, yeah, apparently you may consider, if I'm not one of those people that's in Home Depot or speak Spanish or apparently race or ethnicity, I may be fine. But I don't think that's safe enough. There's a very strong trend by the administration to tighten immigration to begin with. I think they just came out with a policy of, what is that, 27 countries where the Rubio has asked the processing of immigrant visa being stopped or paused rather. And those are the 27 countries, albeit not the famous ones, the big countries like Mexico or India or whatever. But I think that trend is very concerning. Is that this administration is targeting not just supposedly violent criminal illegal aliens and deport them, but it's expanding to basically anyone who's maybe overstayed their visa or came here
Yeah,
illegally.
yeah.
And now it's the legal immigration that's being tightened up as well.
When was
And
that court date? Because there's also the bill that was passed on July 4th, the big beautiful bill that I saw on who was it? Grassley's Senate his site bragging about how there's extra um privileges after that Supreme Court or in conjunction with that ICE is going to have, where they're going to immigration courts can kind of like look the other way on due process.
Right. So this case came down September 8th, 2025. I think this theory, as I was saying, that it's more than just so-called violent illegal immigrants or illegal immigrants. Now it's immigration. I think it goes to me at least, it implies a bit of a white replacement theory response. Is that there's a group of people here that are sensing we have fewer and fewer white individuals in this country, going from maybe 70% 30 years ago to less than 60%. Maybe that particular group, who really has been in power for the past 200-300 years, as a particular racial group, is feeling threatened, and this is sort of an effort to reclaim